Hey there, party people! A little over a week ago now, the highly hyped up and anticipated summer anime, My Dear Friend Nokotan, aired. And honestly, it's been a while since I've seen an anime this hyped up from the marketing. Obviously, plenty of anime have had a hype train making its way to the station before the air date. But I can't remember the last time I've seen a full month lead up where every turn I took, I'd see a clip of the trailer, or this. It wasn't oversaturated or anything, but it was noticeable in my opinion, though that is based on my own online circles and the algorithms that have been curated for me, which honestly makes it hard to tell sometimes. Still, regardless of that, there is no doubt that people were excited to have a new absurdist and wacky anime hit the scene. And for general audiences, it's been a while. I say general because there have been a few titles such as The 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You that are also absurdist comedies, but they aren't really mainstream. Yes, it's pretty popular, but there are people who do not give it the time of day because it's a harem series. And we should not shame them for that. Instead, we should pity them, because they are missing out on greatness. Still, a general audience absurdist or surreal humor anime does sound like an oxymoron, but what I mean is something like Nichijou or Azumanga Daioh. These have the potential for mass appeal, but are also incredibly weird. I don't really count Pop Team Epic in this because yes, it is insane, but it's more of a sketch comedy. Nichijou and Azumanga Daioh have a grounded reality, as it were, being a slice-of-life anime, offering some form of tether that makes the comedy even more surreal. Now, where does Nokotan fit into this? Well, by the time that this is uploaded, we are 2 episodes in, and I'm late on this, and I want to give my first impressions on it to gauge how I'm feeling on this anime, see how weird it is based on other series. Obviously, Nokotan has plenty of time to swing along the weird scale as much as it wants over the course of more episodes. But first impressions do matter, and I will admit that I wasn't too impressed by the surrealness of the first episode, though that's not to say that it's bad at all. I did very much enjoy it. So, though I am late, I do want to talk about my thoughts on our introduction to Nokotan before I watch the second episode, so that I maintain zero influence. For the incredibly subjective ranking of surrealism, I will have to make a scale of comedies ranging from hints of surrealism to absolutely batshit insane. For the low end, I will be using School Rumble as the benchmark, as I feel that it just barely pushes into absurdism. There are far out moments to be sure, but like, compared to the likes of Gugure or Nichijou, yeah, it's kind of straightforward most of the time. For the far end, it has to be Pani Pony Dash, which I am sure no one knows what that is, so here's a trimmed down version of the English trailer.
Get ready to meet the class. The Heather.
How dare you talk to your students like that?
The Spaz.
Oh my god, you're so maximum adorable, I can't stand it!
The Brain.
We are in the middle of class. At least pretend to pay attention.
The Strange Class Rep.
We should devote ourselves to God.
The Invisible Girl.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you, the boring girl.
The Good Girl. The Tyke. The Dyke. The Geek. The Twins. The Dits. The Gym Teacher. The Drunk Teacher. Miss Nosy. The Drama Nerd. The Bunny. The Aliens. The Cat Who Lives in the Soda Machine. And the 11-year-old genius who teaches them.
The mid-2000s sure were a time, huh? Now, for the main event, let's discuss the first episode of My Dear Friend Nokotan. First, we are introduced to Torako Koshi, a model student at her high school as well as a model citizen. She has high grades, is super popular, and even helps little old ladies cross the street. However, she harbors a dark secret. She used to be a delinquent, like a full-on gang member. Now, honestly, this part is where it loses me a bit, because while, yes, I do understand the idea that she does want to keep this secret, she doesn't want her past to be found out, but the anime also treats it as if she is currently still a delinquent. Like, Koshi herself calls it an act, which is like, really committing to the bit, I guess? Now, this could be a translation error, and I've heard that the official translation might have been done by AI, which absolutely kills my soul if that is true, but does explain a lot. Since recording this, I have discovered that it was not in fact AI, and just bad subtitles. I'm still leaving this section in because I do have a soapbox to get on. Seriously, I do know there are times where AI can be useful, and that localizers cannot do a good job at times. But regardless of both those facts, if you are using AI to replace humans in creative endeavors, then I hope your computer gets completely bricked and cannot be restored. This goes double for major companies trying to cut corners and refusing to pay people what they deserve. Now, with the soapbox out of the way, Koshi comes across the titular Nokotan, who is inexplicably hanging from power lines, hunted by vultures and hyenas, while odd 3D deer watch on from the background. So yes, you can say that this is very odd, and Koshi, being the audience's lifeline to sanity in the series, says so herself. She is tempted to abandon poor Nokotan, but is inevitably guilted by the latter to help her down. Then, in class, when Nokotan is introduced as a transfer student, she tries to enter the class, but her horns are too wide for the door. Then this happens. And honestly, it is absolutely hilarious, especially with how everyone but Koshi essentially is not reacting to it. However, I just feel that the comedic timing is slightly off. Like if it was just her opening the door, Koshi reacting to her presence, and then Nokotan enters like this on the first try, that would have made it much tighter and more impactful, but that could just be me. Comedy is entirely subjective. Though the main comedy of this bit actually comes when Nokotan calls Koshi Miss Delinquent, and the slow motion and chanting happens again. But the class is actually reacting this time, completely taking the new girl at her word, deers included. Though things get diffused and forgotten with the revelation that Koshi is a virgin. You know how it goes. Then nothing of terrible note happens for a little bit, though this does happen.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
After school, Koshi finds Nokotan in the shed, and I think this could have been framed a bit better. Like, holding off on the chibi art until Nokotan set up. Still, the fountain's fun. Then the two end up cleaning the shed together as Nokotan is creating the Deer Club, with Koshi being roped into being the president. Club duties involve taking care of deer, meaning Nokotan. So it's a club about pampering Nokotan, and Koshi has to brush her every day. I can see the doujin and hentai scenarios now. And with that, the first episode ends with the two being glared at by what I'm assuming is a yandere lesbian. And I know it's Koshi's little sister, but that does not stop her from being a yandere lesbian. Overall, I'd put this episode somewhere below the center of the absurdist anime scale. It's definitely wild and wacky, but I didn't feel it punch me in the face as much as I was expecting it to. Still, it's a great time. This scale does not account for quality in the slightest. I'm also pretty biased as I have watched a lot of weird and absurd things in my time. So I will say that my perspective is very skewed. You may disagree and think this is one of the craziest things you've ever seen. And regardless of all of that, it is only the first episode, so there is time for it to shoot up on the scale. However, I did want to talk about the first episode based on the lead up to it. From all the advertisements and the hype, I was expecting bombastic nonsense from the get, but this is more tempered nonsense? I guess that's a way to put it. It's not exactly playing it safe or straight, but certainly not going completely all out. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, that remains to be seen. We will have to continue to check out the rest of the series and get the full picture. So, with all of that in mind, my first impressions on My Dear Friend Nokotan is that it's a cute, funny, and kind of weird time to be had. It's got the potential to be well and truly batshit, and I'm excited to see if it's going to reach that point, or if it's going to keep itself a little more tame, comparatively speaking, which wouldn't be a bad thing. But what are your thoughts on My Dear Friend Nokotan's first episode, or the second episode if you watched it by this point? Please let me know down in the comments below. I am interested to find out. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to catch you next time in the void. Later.